So let's get this going.
Yes.
Do it.
If you could be a part of a digital fantasy world, whatever, for 1 week, where would you go?
Dude,
Middle Earth.
Oh,
Middle
man.
Earth.
Middle Earth all day.
What would you be?
What would I? Afraid.
The beard says dwarf.
I mean, door. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's funny how there's so much more to that world than just Middle Earth, and he chose Middle Earth.
Middle Earth, man.
Like you could have, you could have gone to the land of the elves. You know, like
No.
he's like Middle Earth. I want to
I
be
don't
there.
want to be around those guys.
He's gonna be. Dude, you're gonna be treated like a dwarf, bro.
That's
right. I am short.
He's holding an axe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't tell the elf.
Yeah. He'll get so excited to get involved in them fights. Let's go. Video game version or movie version?
Movie.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Movie. Okay.
A lot safer.
Yeah, it's a fun place.
What? You only have one life in movie version.
Dude, but the video game
Video
version
game-
is crazy though. Like
yeah, but
the
you
stuff
reboot.
that-
You reboot. Yeah, I got multiple lives.
I didn't say that he'd be a video game. I'm just saying the world that they create is
yeah,
way
yeah,
more
yeah.
intense.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
Oh, yeah, you just
go
stepped in. I think.
I don't even. I was trying to think because there's so many cool ones. But one of the games that I really like to play right now that would be fun. You probably never heard of it, but there's a game called Titan and Apex Legends. They're
Apex,
kind of the
yeah.
same. Kind of the same world. They are the same world, just different
Is it-
different games.
Titanfall, or is it just Titan
Yeah, Titanfall. Sorry.
Yeah.
Probably should not have left that out.
with the mechs? And yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What about you, Jason?
I'm gonna go into Wreck-It Ralph.
What?
A world of candy. That just sounds amazing to me. A week of just running
Yeah.
around and I don't know why. That just sounds fun to me.
Me and my sugar problems wouldn't be too good.
Wait.
there.
But if you were in the Wreck-It Ralph world, wouldn't you be able to just go into any video game?
I guess you
Oh,
could. I
that's
guess
true.
you
That's a
could
good point.
jump
Yeah.
through the thing and then go hit
Yeah.
other
not
video
not
games.
just Candy Craze.
Oh yeah.
Not just
Yeah.
Candy Craze.
So-
you would be able to go to any video game.
I think I
That's in the
made the
system.
best choice I could possibly
You
make.
did.
I
That's
just
a good one.
each day go visit a different game.
yes.
I said Aladdin.
Yeah.
Because then I would get the genie working for me.
Oh, okay.
And then those wishes would carry on
Yeah, you
after
take
that
them with
week.
you.
After that week. You
3
know?
weeks, yeah. Or three
Loophole.
wishes taken with you. Yeah.
Loophole. That's what I'm looking for.
That's what we're about. Yeah.
So, welcome to the podcast.
All right. Pong, Pac-Man, Tetris, Mario Brothers, Halo, Call of Duty, Fortnite. The list of video games that have shaped our lives and our culture is long and storied. And we're going to talk about it. Game on. Let's go.
Game on.
Game on.
Video games. So
All right.
excited.
Do, 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 do.
Yeah. I
There we
mean,
go.
I think we got to jump right in, right? Like,
Yeah.
what's your earliest experience with a video
Seriously.
game? I mean, that's the question.
Pong.
Yeah.
Pong.
Pong, yeah.
Pong.
Yeah.
Sure.
Atari.
Yeah.
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 Old
My
school.
dad-
Atari
Yeah.
2600.
Before Atari,
Pitfall.
Odyssey. There was a gaming console called Odyssey before Atari.
Wow.
I think I've heard
yeah,
about
that. Was
that.
before me. Yeah.
And it had and then
Netflix
I remember
documentary.
before that, I remember when it was ColecoVision.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
and
yeah.
it was Pong, and you had like a little
The little
controller.
dial thing?
Yeah, dial
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
But as far as our household was concerned, like, you know, I mean, I'm sure I played, you know, there was arcade games as well, but it was
Yeah,
the
arcade.
Atari 2600. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My dad just had it in the attic. Like
Yeah.
when we were kids, he busted out and he said that one of my uncles gave it to him when he moved. And so he brought down this ancient looking TV thing and this
Yeah.
massive, like this brown console.
Mhm.
Mm.
These-
It had that fake wood.
Yeah,
look.
yeah.
yeah.
And then it had the square
Mhm.
games that just like,
Yeah.
like locked in. And then the
that
two, we had two
massive
joystick ones.
joystick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the
We broke
joystick and the
them.
yellow,
You got
yellow
two
button.
buttons.
Yeah, the yellow button one.
Yellow
yeah.
button.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
ours had two.
Oh,
It was
okay.
literally,
Okay.
it was a joystick, and on the right bottom corner, it was a yellow button, and that was all we had.
Yeah.
And I remember we played hockey, baseball, and pong. That's what we had.
Yeah.
It was Pitfall and Asteroids.
Oh, Pitfall.
Asteroids.
Yeah.
I wish I had
played a
asteroids
lot of
because
Asteroids, yeah.
it was the advertisement when you opened the game. It had like
Pac-Man.
little. I
Yeah.
didn't have that one.
Yeah, I think my earliest experience is Atari and those games.
Yeah.
But I remember going to the arcade quite a
Yeah.
bit and playing
Oh,
games.
yeah,
They were
yeah,
so
that's
much fun.
true. That's
like
a
that
good
was
one.
probably
Golden
like my real
Axe.
first
Yeah.
like
Golden
into.
Axe.
I do remember that too.
Yes.
Like down here where
Spy
we
Hunter.
live,
That's
Mm.
Shinobi.
Tilt.
Yeah,
Tilt was the
there was a
arcade
tilt.
we had
Yeah,
back
tilt
then.
in the mall.
Yeah. And that was pretty cool. I was really young doing that. Now I don't want people thinking like Atari. I'm not that old. I got it because it was a hand me down.
You just called us all
later in life.
old.
For real.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's like, I bought
I
it
just
at
don't want them
garage
to think
sale.
that I'm on
I
y'all's
just-
level. Like, you know,
No.
they have seniority over me over here, guys.
Yeah.
No.
won't tell you how much.
That's definitely my earliest experience. My first like real gaming was probably Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
Like, where I actually like sat and really played and knew what I was
Ooh.
doing.
beat the game kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I had a Nintendo, but like I was old enough at Super Nintendo that that was like my real.
Yeah.
I'm into gaming.
So we all answered that question, right?
I think so.
I think we did.
so. So that leads to the video game that had the biggest impact on your life.
Oh, yeah.
And how?
Oh man,
There's a couple. I love Spy Hunter, and it influenced my wanting to be a spy as a child. The other was, I remember when I got my first Nintendo, the original NES.
Yeah.
And my dad was like, let's get this game Zelda.
gosh.
And so
Good call.
Legend of
Did-
Zelda. And I was
Did
like,
you
okay.
have the gold case?
Oh, I had the gold case.
Yeah.
The gold.
And my dad was like, yeah, this looks like a fun game. I'll help you play it. And I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because I'm just a kid, right? My dad worked shift work.
Mhm.
And so he would stay up all night on
Oh,
his
gosh.
nights off to get, and him and my mom would sit there and play Legend of Zelda while I'm trying to sleep in my room. And I have memories of waking up at 2:00 in the
You
morning
just have that.
because I'd be like, oh, that's it. And I'd be like, I'm trying, I got school tomorrow.
That's hilarious.
You just
To
heard
this
the
day, he wakes up in the
Yeah.
middle of the night.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was thinking. What's that flute thing called?
Yeah, the O'Connor.
Yeah, that's what he's hearing the whole night. Like,
I
Well,
heard
like,
also
where you found like the secret room. You
Yes.
hear that little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
that's a good. I only played the
man,
one
that
on.
was so fun.
Only played the one on 64. That was it.
Oh yeah, I remember playing that
You got
original
robbed.
one. It was on a black and white TV,
Oh.
and because that was just it was at my grandmother's house for some reason. Like I don't even remember why we had it there, but yeah, it was on this little black and white TV, and it was the worst graphics you could possibly have.
Oh, yeah.
But like to find secret stuff was so hard because like you just had to push every wall and like I hope this might be it. Like
It was so tough.
Yeah.
Nintendo Power came in handy.
Right.
yeah, yeah.
The cheat
You-
magazine.
Yeah, use
Yeah.
the cheat
Cheat
magazine.
magazine.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you had
Yes.
no internet. You couldn't go ask.
That's true.
Yeah.
We were so close to owning a Nintendo. I remember our friend let us borrow his, and we were all playing, and including my dad. He was like, "Oh, this is awesome. This is great." And then, like, he literally was on the verge of buying us a Nintendo of our own. And then he sat there one day and listened to us all bicker about whose turn it was. And he's like,
That
"Nope,
was it.
Oh
done."
man,
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, we were this close." And then after
Yeah.
that, I didn't.
That's
I
when
was-
you play. That's when you get Gauntlet and play
Yeah.
4 players.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
man. I'm thinking like there's several games that I played as a kid, like Duck Hunt and Mario and stuff. Similar
Yeah.
thing because we had a Super Nintendo for a while before I made the biggest mistake in life. I will tell the story because it's actually pretty tragic. We had a Super Nintendo that my dad bought. We all played it as a family. Had 4 controllers. We had the guns, everything. In fact, I literally have a bag of that stuff in my truck right now. The guns and the controllers.
Come
Don't
on.
have the system or the games.
Oh.
Because
So you
as
just have a gun in your
as a-
truck, is what you're
as-
saying.
Yeah, it plugs into something.
It is Texas.
It's Texas.
As a 12-year-old, I get conned by an adult neighbor 4 houses down that said, "I'll buy that game system from you." And I'm 12 years old. I don't have money, but money seems really important. And
Yeah.
I want to buy stuff, right? Like any 12-year-old does.
Sure.
I kid you not, that guy who was old enough to know better bought Super Nintendo games and a controller off of me for $28.
Get out of here.
Not kidding. I will never forget the number. It's been
Why 28?
that's what he had on him. $28, and I took it because I was thinking that's a lot of money. I was 12 years old,
Yeah.
and I gave it to him, and I told my parents it didn't even belong to me. I just sold it to him. It did not belong to me at all. And my dad was furious, but he looked at me and he's like, "You're going to learn from this because I'm not going to get it back." And he said, "I hope you enjoy that $28 because we're not getting another game system
a good dad
in this
right there.
house."
Yeah.
And I didn't own another game system from 12 all the way through high school.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a huge important lesson for me, but that I was going to say Call of Duty because that's when I finally got back into playing.
But it was
But-
Nintendo. Yeah.
That Nintendo shaped
I bet.
everything. And that's how.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the video game that had the biggest impact on my life would probably be Halo.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
Uh,
I agree with that one too.
So, based on the story we just told, we didn't have any kind of console growing up whatsoever. And so it wasn't until I was a grown up and I realized I could buy my own that things changed. And then all of my friends were playing this Halo game, but it was it was Microsoft exclusive. It was on Xbox only, and I had a PlayStation at the time, and all my friends were getting together. It was like they were having LAN parties and they were connecting all of their Xboxes together and playing this multiplayer in a fashion that I'd never seen done before. And so I made the jump. I made the move to Xbox, never went back and played. Man, we would have the whole house networked and all kinds of crazy TVs everywhere and 16 people playing.
16 people at the same time.
Man,
It's crazy.
So much fun. And I think it had the biggest impact because there was a community that was created, where we all liked the game a whole lot, and then getting together, it's the fellowship aspect. So we would throw down on cheap grub and then spend hours on hours grinding on multiplayer and Halo.
Yeah.
I remember you coming down to me and my roommate's apartment down in Corpus Christi and playing Halo with us, and you were so good. It was infuriating. Me and Joel were trying to kill you at every turn, and we would get like 2 kills. And it got to the point where Eric would just come up and he would just clobber us. He wouldn't shoot us because that was too easy. He would run up behind us and hit us. And he got to the point where he was going, yoo-hoo, boom.
This is before Gravity Hammer.
Yoo-hoo, boom. And every time me and Joel are like, dude, you're going to have to quit saying yoo-hoo because we were so furious. We're like, we're going to end up killing you.
Yeah, this is like where friendships start to fall apart. Yeah.
That game changed Lee's life.
Yeah.
Well, he's like, I had the same answer, dude.
A few years later, I was a college and career pastor and a small group pastor at a church, and we actually started something called Halo Ministry.
Hey,
and all the old people in the church were like, well, that's great. What are y'all doing?
Digital
Come check
tag?
it out. Yeah.
Killing each
Yeah,
other.
the
And so we
lock-ins,
played
man.
Halo. It was awesome.
The lock-ins are very
Lock-ins,
memorable
yeah.
for those. Like,
Oh, yeah.
there's no other game that ever shaped like a lock-in for church, like or anything we did. Like it was Halo for sure. Yeah,
No doubt.
that's a good
Funny.
one.
For me, I went Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy 2 or 4, depending on when you bought it. Same game. But I remember going to a cousin's house. He didn't actually have the game. We rented that game. It was me and like 3 cousins, and we just stayed up like for 2 days and beat the entire game, like start to finish, because we had to return it.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
And like you
The
could rent it
clock
again,
is
but you
ticking.
don't know if your save would still be there because somebody
Yes.
could clear it. So we're like, we're gonna beat this game, and that was my first experience with like the RPG kind of game, and that sold me on Final Fantasy. Like after that is all Final Fantasy. So direction of games for me, RPG goes back to that. The other one, like, that really just kind of changed the way I look at Dark Age of Camelot. It's a MMORPG. So I did that for years into WoW.
For those
WoW.
who are listening who need to know what the acronyms mean, fill us in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Massively
massive
Multiplayer.
multiplayer online RPG role-playing game.
Role-playing game,
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, it's way too many letters.
That is a lot of letters. That's
an
why it's an
online game.
acronym. That's
right.
why.
More
Nobody's
online game.
going to say the full thing.
It's in the
Morbid.
same vein as like EverQuest. Like EverQuest, Quest was probably one of the
Yeah.
first ones that was like that. But yeah, I mean, that changed the way I play games. Like to this day, I still play Final Fantasy games. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
Well, yeah, I think like one of the things about that was how things like that we grow up on, each of us have like one game that's like a staple of our generation, right?
Yeah.
That like shapes the culture of that generation in video games. And then you see like another one come out that shaped that. And there's like a few that come to my mind. Like Halo is one of the ones on my mind for sure that shaped a whole generation
Gen
of games.
Xers.
For sure. Call of Duty was another one that was just like that grew to be like almost a cult following for Call of Duty.
Right.
They drop one every year. So I was thinking like, what was some of the other ones that you saw in your lives like that shaped cultures or changed the cultures of video games?
Yeah.
Well, and that was walking into this podcast. I was thinking that to answer that question about if you could or which game has the largest impact on our culture, I'd be like, well, what generation?
Yeah.
You know, you got everything from Pac-Man to Mario to Halo to Call of Duty to Fortnite. You know, depending on the generation, you have a game that's been a defining element for that pop culture.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
before we continue, I'm sorry to interrupt this.
Yeah.
You mentioned Halo, but was that the
Zelda, I think, is what you talked about,
okay?
right?
was his
Zelda,
game.
yeah, Halo and Zelda would be my two.
Okay,
but, you know,
But Halo is where he found patience.
Ah,
Yeah.
yes.
That's what rocked his culture.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
I think when I think of like shaping a culture, I'm thinking something like Pac-Man you brought up,
Yeah.
or really I think Mario,
Mm.
because I think everybody knows Mario and at some point has played a Super Mario or
Yeah.
some version of it. You
Yeah,
know,
it's massive.
it's everywhere. It made gaming accessible.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
anybody could do it. Anybody can play Mario. I mean, there's a movie out there right now. I haven't watched it. I
It's
don't
good.
know- I don't
Speaking of
know
that,
anything
is
about
this
it,
the
but
first Mario movie we've gotten?
No.
No?
no.
There used to be
live
there was a
action
live
one.
action one.
93, I think it was.
It was terrible.
Early
Okay.
90s.
Yeah.
Horrible.
But is this like the first like animated that looks like Mario kind of film? Or because
Yeah,
I don't
think so.
remember a lot from growing up. I don't remember that being
I
a
believe
movie.
there was also an animated series.
There was an animated series. There was a couple, I think.
Okay.
But as far as a full motion picture, it might
This
be
is
the
it.
first, like,
Yeah.
animated.
The reason I bring it up is because I feel like if you're a video game and there's a movie based off of your game,
You've shaped culture.
that's culture.
That's
like
right.
that. I mean,
Yeah.
that you've done something big enough to where
Yeah.
you have a following that people would go see a movie about.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a good
So
one.
I go back to Mario, and like you can walk into a room, and if you say Mario, somebody's gonna be like, "Oh, it's a me!" Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just it's there, right?
Yeah.
Even regardless if you play video games or not, you know it.
True.
So I think that's one that has a huge impact on our culture.
I
Yeah.
the,
I agree with that.
the number one that came to my mind immediately, and I would argue that I would say maybe even is bigger
Mhm.
than Mario, is Pokemon.
Mm.
Pokemon.
Pokemon, I mean, when you talk about like, it's got cards, it's got board games, it's got TV shows, it's got movies, it's had more versions of the games than almost any other game
It
out
has
there.
fan fiction.
I think it does shape culture, but I don't think it has as much of a reach as Mario because it is more niche.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. I think the people that get into Pokemon, they are definitely more into the culture than Mario.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
I
that's
think
fair.
Mario has a farther reach. Like my kids, they know Mario even though they haven't played a Mario game.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Like a catchphrase
but
type
yeah,
thing.
Yeah. But I mean, I think they're both big and they're both Nintendo. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There, yeah, that was huge for me. Like the TV show, getting the games, like Game Boy Color, Game Boy Original, like
Oh,
all
my
those
gosh,
like
yeah,
shaped gaming for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh,
Shout
man.
out to anybody who had a Game Boy without
I did.
the
I bought it
color,
with
Hey,
my
man.
own money.
black and white
Yeah.
gaming.
Dude,
that was the
Tetris-
perfect
Tetris and
Tetris
Batman.
machine right
Yes,
there.
it was.
Yeah,
Speaking
that
of that,
And that movie's coming
Tetris.
out
Did
too.
anybody
It is out. I haven't seen it yet.
Did
It is
anybody
out.
have the money to do the link up? You know?
Yeah.
Oh no.
I
Did
didn't
we
have
ever
the
do it?
money. I don't know how we ended up with it, but we did have a link up, and a neighbor and I.
Dude, my neighbor had one, and
Yeah.
and as soon as I got my Game Boy, he's like, "Oh, God, we gotta play!" And so we linked up, and we played Pokemon Red, I think,
hmm
and did the battles
Yeah.
and stuff. Man, that was crazy.
I imagine that the one we had fell off the back of a truck. I'm guessing.
Oh.
I don't know. Like, yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah. So, where are we at?
If
what
you
would you-
could play, if you could only play one
We're
video
at Be
game,
Remembered Studios.
Shout out to BeRemembered.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. Seriously,
We're
great
talking
host.
about video games impacting largest impact on your culture and
Yeah.
why. And you said Mario.
Mhm.
I said Pokemon
You
for
said
sure.
Pokemon. Eric, did you say something?
Well, my question, or not question, I guess it was more about like it's generational.
Yeah, it's generational.
It's
dude.
generational.
Yeah.
So,
So,
like, if you would have
Your
said,
generation. Let's say your generation.
man, my generation.
Because your generation was kind of the video game generation. Because
Well,
your
it's
generation
true.
is my generation.
Right. I would have to say that there would be Mario for sure. That's a huge impact. But man, I GoldenEye when that came out, that
Mhm.
was
64.
Yeah.
man, that was game changing. No pun intended.
Yeah, first person shooter.
Whatever,
that
you meant
just
that.
really
That was a pun.
dialed
I
it
did.
in.
I mean, stuff like Halo and then Call of Duty when the Call of Duties were, one company puts one out one year and the next company puts out,
Are you
Going-
sorry? I gotta clarify. Call of Duty starting from
World War II.
okay, you're back in like
Wow,
Call of Duty
taking it way
1,
back.
Call of
Yeah.
Duty 2, Call of Duty 3. Actually,
Whole
they had
series.
they had like a one in between, right?
Yeah.
So PC.
And then Modern Warfare.
before it came out on
And then
console.
Modern
Yeah.
Warfare 2.
I mean, in Black Ops.
Yeah.
And Black
but the
Ops,
originals,
Black Ops 2.
when they first come out, I remember
sure.
thinking, it was whenever. So we talked about movies, a couple podcasts ago. So when you're watching that opening scene of Saving Private Ryan when they're taking the beach of Normandy,
Mm-hmm.
and then that Call of Duty game comes out, and that's how you start off. You're taking the beach in Normandy. It was intense. It was crazy. So just getting that feel.
Yeah, because everybody played the Medal of Honor version of that, and it just didn't. It wasn't. It just wasn't there graphically. And then Call of Duty came out and did it like 20 million times better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be totally honest. I never play first person shooters.
And
It's
that's
just
cool.
Not my game.
There's a lot of
So,
people that
yeah.
don't like
Yeah.
RPG. Like that's,
That's my thing.
Oh,
And I'll
wow,
play some
you know?
action stuff too, but yeah, I've never gotten into first person shooter.
How-
I played some GoldenEye, but that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how about we're talking about like console games and
Yeah.
video, but what about if I say delicious?
I don't even know what that is.
Is that
Cake?
the kitchen thing? The
Candy
cooking-
Crush.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
no.
I've never
Candy
played
Crush.
Candy
Oh
Crush.
my gosh,
No.
it was
Bring
like
it in phone
Yeah,
games.
it's a
Yeah.
huge
Oh,
game.
phone
yeah.
games.
Yeah.
You got
It did.
Wordle
Everybody
and
played.
all the phone games.
I
mean,
could
there's a ton
I
of
could see
phone
how
games.
that's,
Friends.
that definitely
Yeah.
shaped some culture for sure. I mean everybody was
Flappy.
playing it at one point.
Mhm.
I never played it, but everybody around me was playing it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You would
Yeah.
hear it. You would hear
Yeah,
it. Like
yeah,
you're
oh yeah.
like in the airport and you're like waiting for the
I'm sitting
plane.
at the DMV waiting for my turn line.
Exactly.
You just hear like, bing, like
And then you'd hear it be like, delicious. And you're like,
Like I
what is
said,
going on?
My phone's always on silent, so I don't even know,
I know,
what the
right?
sounds for any of these games are. Like I can just always do everything on silent.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that's one of the,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the phone
it-
games.
it-
Yeah.
Once gaming moved to phones, that again, it's a huge
How it
change.
impacted
Everybody's
culture.
playing games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good
For
point.
sure. Yeah, I mean, I remember having my Nokia brick, right? With
Nice.
Snake.
Snake.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh man, that
Yeah.
was like spend hours.
Yeah, I
playing that
remember
game. Yeah.
I didn't have a phone until I was like 20 years old. I held off and waited, and the only reason I got it is because my first job was like, "Hey, you need a cell phone so we can get a hold of you." So I was like, "Okay." So I went and got one.
No.
And I remember Cube Runner. It just came with the phone.
Mm.
Like it
Mhm.
just Cube Runner was on there. And I remember it was there's no point, there's no end. You just avoid the cubes as it keeps going and going and going. And so
Yeah.
that was a memorable one that
Mhm.
I feel like everybody got a phone that had that on there. Just like, oh, sweet, free
It
game.
makes me think Minesweeper. Like everybody's played
Mm.
Minesweeper.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, on there.
computers,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
whole generation of people out there like,
Like, what are you talking about?
Minesweeper.
Yeah.
yeah,
What's a mine?
I still know like my mom, man, she's a solitaire beast.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Speaking
yeah.
of games that like influence
Solitaire, yeah.
Yeah.
and change culture,
That's a big
like
one.
solitaire was like
I
everybody
play
wasted time
on
at
the
work
regular.
playing solitaire.
yeah.
Mhm.
So here we are talking about games that change culture, but we haven't addressed like there are competitions with games.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
when we were
Esports.
It
growing
has
up,
changed.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
when
Yeah.
we were growing up, our parents could legitimately say, "You need to stop playing so many video games.
waste of time.
Yeah, it's a waste of time. You can never make a
It'll
living
rot your
doing that."
brain.
And so now it's
Yeah.
with Twitch and streaming and all kinds of stuff. You can
Yeah.
not only can you make a living playing video games.
Millions of dollars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can make a name for yourself. You can play extreme esports or whatever it is.
Yeah, esports is a huge thing. They did some data just a while back. I think it was a couple of years ago, and they said that esports has risen to such a large viewership that it gets more viewers than the Super Bowl.
I
Wow.
believe it.
It depends on what game it is.
Well,
but
it makes sense because gaming is international.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
football,
Yeah.
American football.
Yeah,
is, yeah. Like really,
It's a
just
niche
here.
thing.
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean,
You may or may not like it,
yeah.
Yeah.
but
you're talking about like
every games.
when you talk about
Almost.
across the entire world, soccer, which is football, and
Yeah, everywhere
European
else.
stuff, but
Yeah, everywhere else.
I just don't want to offend anybody. It's
For real?
football. Okay,
We're all
but
about offending people.
Football.
yeah, football. So all of that though, like when they're talking about viewership, even those get beat out with
that's
esports,
crazy.
and
That's
it just
crazy.
depends on the game. But
Yeah.
like ALGS right now, I mentioned Apex Legends, which is
Yeah.
ALGS. It's Apex Legends Gaming Series, global series, and I mean we're talking like $5 million
For the winning team
I think it's
or
like
the
$1
winning
million.
individual.
I think it's like $1 million for the winning team, and
Yeah.
then they start whittling it down for the top like 10 teams or something like that. So everybody wins like a lot of money,
Yeah.
depending.
So
yeah.
crazy.
But I mean, that's insane. Like to go from don't play video games that'll rot your brain to being like, son, thank you so much for
You can make
spending
a lot of
hours
money.
in this game
Yeah.
because you just
Here's
paid
$1
off our
million.
house.
What do you think draws people into video games?
I think it's the same thing that draws people into movies. Like it's an escape.
Okay.
I think about for me, like I like story, right? But also like figuring puzzles out and stuff and stuff like that. And there's a lot of games that you can play where you got to work the angles and get the achievements and whatnot. Versus those who are just playing to rock the multiplayer. I like
Yeah.
it. I actually like the campaign. I want the story
Yeah.
that goes with the game. Which it's kind of the backbone that drives
Which we're
why
losing it.
why it exists, right?
So you loved Myst back in the day.
Yeah, but,
Oh, I
well, I mean,
played
that
Myst.
That's
was
a puzzle game, man.
That's
That's
a
not the
puzzle
same.
Yeah.
that was aggravating.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
just give
I did
up.
enjoy it.
Round one was I'm done. No,
Yeah.
no.
Now I do escape rooms to
There
make
you
up
go.
for
Right,
the
there you
escape.
go.
That's
I mean,
funny.
yeah, I would agree with you. Like the escape of things, but also like experiencing another world.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, and it's not necessarily I'm trying to escape the one I'm in, but just like I love the idea of somebody else's creativity. They came up with this world, and it's so cool to explore.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when you think about like games like Skyrim and this open world concept that's become more popular over the last like
Yeah.
15 years.
Right.
It's so cool. Like getting to
Yeah.
walk around. I mean, Hogwarts Legacy just dropped, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it takes like I talk about the books and movies and things like that, and it's one of those worlds that I really I'm into.
Yeah.
So a video game that drops with that, I'm like, heck yeah!
Yeah.
It's a place that I control. I'm not just watching it on a screen or reading it here.
Right.
I actually can go in this world and explore
Dude,
and have fun with
And
that.
you get to interact with all that.
Yeah.
You get
Yes.
to interact with the story. You get to
Yeah.
change things. You kind of make your own story in a lot of these games nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
It's
that's
all
super
interactive.
cool.
That's what I like about RPG, especially like from like Final Fantasy VII forward. They
Mhm.
really started pushing where basically you're taking part in the movie.
Right. Yeah. It's
Like,
an
these
interactive
games are
movie
a
at that point. Yeah.
I mean,
For
and,
sure.
and you're an actor and you get to do stuff and be a part
Nice.
of that. So that's one reason I really like that style of game because
Yeah.
Yeah.
early on, like you were part of it, and you could spend 60 hours, going through the story.
Easy. Yeah. Dude,
So-
right now I'm a Jedi. I'm playing Jedi Fallen Order at
There you
home,
go.
you know.
Yeah.
So
Oh heck yeah!
I love Star
Yeah.
Wars, and so I actually get to be a Jedi. So
Yeah.
it's
Awesome.
like,
Yeah.
Many
It's fun.
hours of hitting pinatas has paid off.
that's right.
So, if you could only play one video game,
Okay.
what would it be?
Oh, okay. Clarifying question on this.
Okay.
Is this with or without continual content being added to the game regularly?
Just one game, man.
one
Whatever
game.
that means for you.
As it
Whatever it
is. one
Whatever
game.
it means
As
to
is. As is.
I
As
say
is.
as is. What the game is.
Oh,
Do
limitations.
you need a minute?
Mm.
I
He's
can
gonna-
just- I can answer
straight
super-
up.
yeah,
You
same
go,
here.
go for it.
Yeah.
I already mentioned it like 2 times in this podcast. I love Apex Legends.
Yep.
It's a battle royale game. I love it. I play it all the time. I think it's just one of those things. It doesn't need any additions. It doesn't need to change or be fancy. You just drop in. You drop in with 100. No, you drop in with 100 other people and you just battle it out until you're the last one left. I love it the way it is now.
The team deathmatch and the gun run, the new things that they've added to it have made it so much better for me. Because battle
don't ever
royale's
play 'em.
okay. Battle royale's okay, but I prefer team deathmatch.
Well, Lee,
yeah.
that's why it's my game that I
I
would
got
play.
you. I
Your
got you.
game.
Hey,
Yeah, I'm going Final Fantasy VII. Final
Yeah.
Fantasy VII. That I can play that game over and over and over. So much so that they've made a remake of it,
Yeah.
and they're making more remakes of it. And it's
awesome.
the same game,
Remastered.
remastered. I've got multiple versions of it.
Wow.
I can play through that story so many times. There's so many side things, and I've played through that game probably about 4 or 5 times now. Yeah,
but I don't know. The answer for me, it would be a first-person shooter, but I don't know which one.
Man.
And the reason I say that is because
Recon.
they're all so good. But I told my daughter when we started playing Fortnite, and, a friend was like, "Hey man, you should check out Fortnite." And I was like, "Okay, I'll check out Fortnite." And I was like, "Hey, this is a lot of fun," but it was so kiddie.
Yeah.
And I said, "Some people come to build, and some people come to get headshots." And I'm like, "I'm here to get headshots."
That's right.
And my kids were like, "Wow,"
I'm,
know.
I'm the meat shield. My son's the one that builds, and I'm like, shoot at me, not him.
I'm like, I'm gonna shoot you in the head. You can
Yes.
build all you want, buddy, but I'm
Yeah.
going to shoot you in the head. That's what's happening.
yeah. I think another great one out there would be Minecraft. I think
Oh my
because you
God.
can
My
play
kids
forever.
still- yeah, they
it's
love
a
Minecraft.
sandbox. Like you can just
Both my 15-year-old and my 13-year-old are playing Minecraft every day.
I think it's funny. He's having a harder time trying to
we
figure
like
it out.
multiple
And
games. Like I could do this one.
Yeah,
I could do
but
this.
the one I would pick for him, like if I had to, would be just Injustice 2.
Injustice 2.
Oh, man.
Superheroes beating each
You
other.
guys
Yeah.
just beating each other the
Yes.
whole time, man. It's basically
awesome.
Mortal Kombat, but with DC characters.
All right.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd have to go back to like old Street Fighter.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Street Fighter 2.
Man,
Street Fighter 2 was so
Yeah.
much fun. So much
Yeah, that's the one for me.
Hadouken!
Yeah,
I mean, I assume
somebody
you were
just got
gonna.
the
I
rights
assume
to
you were
it.
gonna say like
Really?
Call of Duty.
Well, I mean, I'm stuck. I would probably say Call of Duty, just because I put a lot of hours in there. But walking through, the talk about Halo makes me go, oh man. But
Halo,
but those were only good up to a certain spot. So
I mean, Halo.
if I have to-
Halo 3 was probably the epitome of like all of the good things. in
yeah,
Halo
it was
1.
the pinnacle. They peaked right there. Then of course they sold. But I would probably have to go with Call of Duty.
Mm.
Yeah.
Which one?
Did I answer?
we
I
did-
answer?
yeah.
What did I say? I don't even know. What did
You
I say?
said
Yeah, exactly.
no.
Nobody
You said something
cares.
about other people
Nobody's
playing.
listening.
Yeah, I don't
different
even think I
games, but I don't
answered.
think
No,
you
you-
answered
no, I didn't
a
answer the
game for
question.
I don't know
yourself.
that you have. Yeah.
No, Battlefield 1.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Battlefield,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
That would be
I
my-
Because
thought
when you shoot
Fortnite
stuff,
was
it's
your
actually
answer.
yeah,
no,
I know, right?
No, Battlefield 1 is, I mean, all day long. Battlefield 1. I could play it over and over and over and over for years.
That's awesome.
Nice.
I love
Yeah,
it.
that World War One, right?
Yeah, World War 1. It's
Such
so
a
great.
cool world. Like
It's
I
such
said,
a cool world. Exactly.
visiting a world is so amazing. Yeah,
And
yeah.
I love that Battlefield, the environment's destructible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very realistic.
That's
Yeah.
where they took that element of things and bumped it up a notch. Like that's more realistic, as realistic as a video game's going to be.
Yeah.
But if I'm in war and I run up to a wall and you're hiding behind that wall, but my tank can't go over that wall,
Yeah.
like it just
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
come
Yeah.
on, this is a tank and that's a brick wall.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
when a game finally says destructible, areas around you, like it should be,
Yeah.
yeah.
I played
That's-
that. That's the one of the things that was so frustrating because I came from Call of Duty and played that game, and I was like hiding behind a wall, and I was like, "There's no way he can get me." Just a bomb goes off, and I'm toast. Like I was like, "Come
It's
on!"
all over. Yeah.
Now you said Call of Duty, but as we know, Call of Duty has so many games out, and you can't just blanket statement and
I mean,
get away
that's
with
true.
it. I need to know exactly which one because a lot of people argue that Black Ops 2 was one of the greatest ones ever. Is that
that was so good. Modern Warfare, it's a tie between Black Ops 2 and Modern Warfare, to be honest with you.
For sure.
that's cool?
Yeah. It'd be tie.
I'll accept that.
Yeah. Tie between those.
We'll just split you between two games.
That's
that
right.
Doesn't answer the question, but cool. Yeah.
I mean,
Close to
I
that.
mean, what are we doing anyway?
Close to that.
Choose your
It doesn't
adventure.
matter,
yeah. Oh man. All right. So I think that's time for us, but we want to just say thank you for tuning in to another 4THOUGHT podcast. We hope that you enjoyed the topic on video games, and even if you didn't, we have some other episodes. Maybe there's something that you can jump over and check out and you'll like. We try to get something for everybody. Also, in the comments, be sure to list out what is your favorite video game. Which one are you cool with playing?
We wanna
just
know.
that one. We're
Why
very
is it Final
interested.
Fantasy?
And yeah,
is it?
as long as it's my game. Is there any games that we miss? I know we talked about some old school games and stuff that shaped our culture. Let us know in the comments what you think. But check us out in the next episode of the 4THOUGHT podcast. Peace out.